Welcome to episode 2 of Wiki Whaaat! On this episode, we have our contestants.
Joey Scott.
Noah Gray. Eli Hardy.
And our 3 contestants will be given 3 statements, 2 of which came from real Wikipedia articles, some weird random fact. The third one I completely made up, and they have to pick which one is the fake. Our first set of facts. Fact 1. There's a man named Phineas Gage, who was an oil rig worker who became a noteworthy figure when he was part of a horrific accident where an iron rod was driven through his brain. He survived, but his frontal lobe was completely destroyed, and after surgery, Gage was said to have a completely different personality. Our second fact. One of the top-selling games on the Atari 2600 video game system, released in 1982, was actually a game where you play as a frog in a bayou, and your mission is to jump from lily pad to lily pad, evading hillbilly hunters who want to eat you while eating as many flies as you can. The game was titled Hops McGee vs. the Swamp People. And our third question. The Roman Emperor Commodus was believed to have mental illness and was so narcissistic and full of himself that he demanded to be compared to the Greek mythical hero Hercules. And he even had statues of himself as Hercules commissioned and put up around Rome. Which of these statements is totally made up?
This is a very interesting one.
Right, you gotta watch other people.
Yeah.
Gotta watch those eyes. Noah's very shifty. Flip them over and see what we got. All of you picked 3 about the Roman Emperor Commodus. That one is true. The false one was the Atari game, Hops McGee versus the Swamp People. Alright, your second set of statements. Everyone knows of Netflix as a streaming service, but the company first launched in 1997, far before internet streaming was possible, and acted as a mail DVD rental service where you'd get DVDs sent to you, and once you watched them, you'd mail them back, and they'd send you the next movie on your list. Fact 2. In 1986, a college professor at Brown University was studying an obscure text by British Victorian writer Matthew Arnold when he came across a passage that started an investigation that eventually turned up about 2,000 British pounds worth of stolen goods. And the last one. MTV first launched in 1981 and originally was dedicated much more heavily to playing music videos. The first ever music video played on MTV was an incredibly fitting title, the song Video Killed the Radio Star by the band The Buggles. Which of those is completely made up? Netflix, Brown University professor studying an old British Victorian text, or MTV?
I think I'm ready.
What do we got? This time we go 2, 2, 3, and we got points on the board. It is number 2. British Victorian writer Matthew Arnold, that one was made up. The other 2 are real. Netflix was a mail service for a while, and MTV's very first video was Video Killed the Radio Star.
You can still do the mail service for Netflix.
That's kind of crazy. I can't imagine doing the mail service.
My mom has a coworker who lives in the middle of nowhere, and that's how they get their Netflix shows.
Yeah, I guess it works if you live in the middle of nowhere. All right, our next group of facts. The first fact. There's a type of fish that lives in the Great Salt Lake that actually resembles seaweed growing at the bottom of the ocean. When prey rubs against it, it wraps around the fish, pulls it down to the seafloor, where it then consumes the fish, eventually releasing only the bones. Fact 2. In Normandy, France, one known Advent rite was for farmers to pay children to run through their fields and set fire to bundles of straw, which would drive away vermin that might otherwise damage crops. And your third fact. In many Catholic countries, the dates of October 5th, 1582 through October 14th, 1582 literally do not exist. Which one is completely made up? All right, let's see them. We got 3, 3, 2. You are all wrong. It is number 1.
Oh.
The seaweed one is completely made up. The Normandy, France one was weird to me too, but apparently that really was a thing. And the weird thing for the date thing is that they realized that there was an error in their calendars, the difference between what's called the Julian calendar, which was 365 days, versus the Gregorian, which is 365 and a quarter. basically over many, many years, with the lack of leap years, got them off of the solstices, so they actually had to just adjust things back, and like 9 days just do not exist because of that. All right, our next one. In William Shakespeare's will, the only thing he left to his wife is, quote, his second best bed. Fact number 2. Arnold Palmer is one of the richest sportsmen ever, but it's actually only in small part because of golf winnings, and most of his money actually comes from being a drink mogul due to a drink he invented, the Arnold Palmer, a 50-50 mix between lemonade and iced tea. And your third fact. Most people have seen Up and thought how silly it was, but in 1982, a man later dubbed Lawn Chair Larry attached 45 helium-filled weather balloons to a regular lawn chair and was able to fly for 45 minutes before eventually getting tangled in power lines as he tried to land his lawn chair aircraft. Which one of these is completely made up? No, do you have an answer, or do you think it's still?
No, I have an answer.
All right, let's see them then. We got 1, 1, and 3. Once again, it is number 2. William Shakespeare did, in fact, only leave his second best bed to his wife, and Lawn Chair Larry really did exist, but Arnold Palmer, I mean, there is a drink called the Arnold Palmer that he invented, but he doesn't make any money off of it. You just literally go up and you just fill half your cup with lemonade and fill half of it with iced tea. He doesn't get, like, royalties every time someone does that or something. 1 to 0. We are just having a monstrously good game here, and this is the last question. So this is an opportunity to either catch up, or for one of you to go ahead, or to maintain the tie. We'll see. The town of Agloe, New York first existed as a fake city. There was actually a copyright trap put in by a map maker to catch others using their work. When Agloe appeared on a competitor's map, they thought they had caught someone ripping them off, but in actuality, a real town had been settled at that exact location, and they decided to call it Agloe, since it was already called that on a map. The second one. In Ohio, repeat DUI offenders are actually given a different color license plate with a yellow or gold background and scarlet letters and numbers on it, acting as their very own scarlet letter to shame them. Or the last one. The guinea pig has a total of 64 chromosomes, and literally half of them are involved in determining a guinea pig's sex, leading to many instances where guinea pigs may exhibit some mixture of feminine and masculine traits, since there are so many genetic possibilities. All right, let's see what we got. 2, 2, and 3. That is fun, because we will have a 3-way tie, because you are correct. The Ohio Scarlet Letter thing is real, and Agloe, New York is also a real thing. In fact, that is actually the subject, or at least the inspiration for John Green's book, Paper Towns. The guinea pig thing is totally made up, though. So that leads us to our tiebreaker, because we've got 1 to 1 to 1, correct?
Yep.
So 1 to 1 to 1. Here's your question. Basically, you will each write down a number that you think is closest to the answer, and we will just do it with the closest. There's no Price is Right rules. It's just the closest. If you're over by 1, that's fine. If you're under by 1, that's fine. In feet, what was the highest altitude reached by Lawn Chair Larry on his 45-minute flight? To give you reference, commercial airplanes fly between 30 and 40,000 feet. So a commercial airplane gets up to 30 to 40,000. So how high was someone able to get with a lawn chair and helium balloons?
Are we talking just regular helium balloons? Or like
They're weather helium balloons.
Oh, come on!
Still, the guy's on a lawn chair. He's not getting up there where the 747s are. I'll tell you that much.
I don't know.
I'm not going to say anything else because I'm not going to give too much away, but he doesn't make it to 40,000 feet, that's for sure.
He makes it to 80.
All right, we all have an answer? Let's do them one at a time. We have 7,000 from Joey. Noah? We have 15,600.3. I like the specificity.
I didn't think
You got 140 feet, which is obviously very much on the other spectrum. One of you is incredibly close. One of you is off by 600.3.
Oh!
It is 15,000 feet that Lawn Chair Larry reached. Half as high as the lower level altitude that commercial planes go, which is just crazy.
Larry was a
That someone was 15,000 feet. 5,280 feet is 1 mile, so they were nearly 3 miles up
I kind of want
on
to.
a lawn chair with helium balloons.
I kind of want to do that now.
Don't do
That is terrifying.
That's
All right, so our winner on this episode of Wiki What is
Wiki Whaaat.
Noah Gray. Congratulations, Noah.
Thank you.
Join us next time on episode 3 of Wiki What or Wiki What. We'll see you then.